Warriors Unite! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 in the 1% Club. Hello, my friends. Hope you guys are doing well. Working a little bit in the yard, working out a little bit. I wanted to kind of do a video. It's been a couple days. I want to get one off this earliest week. So we're going to talk about fasting and semen retention. Another one of those videos that with men with discipline. I like that. I want to talk about that for a few minutes. But let's do some shout outs first. Gerry Manning, thank you, my friend. Lewis Loves, thank you. Lykkos, as usual, my friend. Ellishaindabo, I think that's thank you. Fahy, thank you. Darius, thank you. Tamaka Karak, thank you. Juicetutors, thank you. We're gonna do one on Juice. Had a good topic. We'll do one in probably next couple days or this week at least. Tennier, 560 days. Congratulations, Chris. Keep it up. Igor Miranov, thank you, my friend. Very good. Rudy F talks about Elvis, and that made me another one I want to kind of do too. I think he had a good topic. A lot of good topics you guys give me. Kilu Muka, thank you. Relapse, but keep trying, my friend. Keep trying. This is a journey, and no matter what happens, one day you can always get back on track. The more energy you keep, in the long run, the better off you are. Do the best you can. I know I kept trying for 47 years. Finally got back on the right track. Eventually, that's going to happen. Harold Mereweather, thank you, my friend. Good, always good to hear from Harold. Jay Hamilton, you too, my friend. Thank you. He was laughing about sexually drained priests. I'm sure there are, my friend. I'm sure there are. With all the scandals and things you've heard about over the years, I can't believe we haven't had the drain ones. I mean, I could see them too sometimes. I like that. Map to the Kingdom also. Thank you, my friend. Okay, so the 2-minute mark, let's kind of talk a little bit about fasting and retention. So, when we talked about this the other day, we were talking about the idea that when you start a program in trying to better yourself, you know one of the biggest vices, one of the biggest things to overcome is your sexual energy. You want to keep that energy. You want to keep it flowing within your system as well. And so you want to do everything you can to make sure that you're helping your process here. So that means, obviously, you're not going to be involved in a lot of things. I mean, this goes back to control across the board. Not only in sexual behaviors and energy and things like that, but also when it comes to things like eating and addictions that you could hit, like gambling or pornography or anything like that. Overeating, drugs, things like that. All these things are addictions you can't avoid. So the thing is, you want to build a group of habits and behaviors that are going to accentuate to help what you're doing. And so when we talk about the idea of fasting makes a lot of great sense when it comes to this. Now, I fast in the morning, so I tend to fast intermittently from 9 o'clock at night to 9, maybe 10 o'clock, sometimes to 12. It just kind of depends. If I have a late night after working, late night type meal or something like that, then I may go to midnight. So I'm trying to do some fasting there, and I've done that since I've been on the retention type of monk mode, probably last number of years, 4 or 5 years since the pandemic. I think it's like 1,800 days or something like that now. But the thing is that the fasting goes along with eating the right foods, taking care of yourself, letting all that energy within yourself add to your body. Now, why is fasting important? When we look at fasting, we realize when you're fasting, especially in the morning after retention, you have not eaten anything at all at night, right? And you've obviously had no relapse or anything to let yourself go. And so your body now is working with your energy to help you basically become stronger. So as you're transmuting that energy throughout your body does not have to work at trying to digest a bunch of food. This, to me, has always been the key. Now, I remember when I heard something, and maybe this is true or not, I'm not positive anymore, but when you start eating, if you eat too fast, for instance, so when you're eating too fast, by the time that food goes down your stomach, you could be eating more and more and more, and your brain doesn't recognize that you're becoming full because it hasn't digested into your stomach yet. So that's why I always talk about the fact that you should be eating slow and chew your food so that you can kind of break it apart so it goes down to your system, so it takes some time, but you're not overeating. My problem early on, a long time ago, was that I would eat and eat and eat, and I didn't feel full. Of course not. Well, because I basically did not have the food, did not go to my stomach fast enough, or by the time it did, I had eaten 2 or 3 types of things, and I got full. And I had bloating, all kinds of issues after that. So the thing is, you have to kind of regulate yourself, your food. So what does this have to do with the fasting? Well, the fasting is the ability to kind of control that eating. It also works wonders for your body because your body gets to clean itself out. And obviously from a spiritual standpoint, it's great for God as well, because now you're talking with the Lord more. I believe when you're in fasting, you tend to listen to and you hear more of the messages from God than if you're eating. Again, guys, when you're eating and your food, your body reacts right away and says, wow, I got some stuff we have to take care of here. So everything that goes to your body, right, from your body goes to try to digest this food. Breaks it up into protein, carbs, all this kind of stuff that you have. Well, because of that, you're not really focusing on the other things you want to do. So it won't help you necessarily. I've tried working out right after I ate. It was terrible, right? Because your body's not used to using that food for muscle until after it digests itself. The same thing happens a lot when you try to, when you're sick, for instance. And you're sick and you're eating, they always say it's not that great to do that, right? Again, my philosophy, and it could be right or wrong, I don't know, I don't have any kind of scientific background on this to be able to say it, but my experience has been, at least, is that when I was sick, and I'm not very sick very often, I've been sick for many, many years, but I remember a couple times I was sick when I was younger, that I would eat and I would feel worse, right? When I actually had some liquids, which is what they recommend doing, all of a sudden I felt better. And I think what happens is that it ends up thinning the blood out, and all of a sudden now you have it thins the blood out when you're fasting. It allows your body to digest all you have, and now you're working on your body cleansing it out. And I think that's what a good fast for. Now, I'm not recommending necessarily fasting for weeks. I did fast one time years ago for 40 days and just had liquids for Lent. That was phenomenal. But, you know, I don't really do that very often. I will intermittently fast at times here and there. I haven't really decided to do a long-term one in many, many years. I may not do that. We'll see. But the thing is that I think that in this case, intermittent fasting can help you a lot, especially at night, regulate your eating patterns. It also, along with Kendler's exercises, Fountain of Youth exercises, which regulates your weight, will allow you then not to overeat and have too much food into your system. Again, food is a distraction. Enough food is good to maintain things, but we've always talked about the fact on this channel that you should always have small meals, right? Once again, allows your stomach to digest and your mind to know that you have food in your system and you're not overeating. You're maybe taking 1 serving, that's it. I used to take 2, 3, 4 servings, and this is why I was so heavy. You know, I was almost 300 pounds at one point. So now, you know, I've lost 100 some pounds, you know, at this point. And so, you know, you're at a point where you have to kind of say to yourself, okay, why am I doing this? Obviously, for a spiritual reason, it's a great reason to get closer to God, to talk and understand what God is trying to have you do. Obviously, from a physical reason, it's also very good for your digestive system once in a while. It's a great type of thing to clear your blood up. And obviously, when it comes to retention and semen retention and fasting, obviously you're gonna have a strong connection, because if your blood, in my opinion, this is my opinion again, if your blood is thinned out, that's why you drink a lot of water, and all of a sudden now your blood will end up, you know, now actually, you know, you won't have any kind of problems with dysfunction, things like that as well, because your blood is going all the way through your body, and now you can transmute that energy back into your system a lot more effectively as well. So there's lots of good reasons to go ahead and fast. I think certainly you want to use it in a way where it's going to be beneficial. I would recommend using fasting and taking it slow. So what I did early on, many years ago, what I would take is maybe take a half hour here. I know it sounds kind of small, but take a half hour, see if you could do that. Then the next day, take maybe 35 minutes, 40 minutes, and keep building yourself up. Because this way, you also get the idea that you don't need food. I think part of it is an oral fixation with our mouths, that we get stressed out or we get hungry. A lot of times, it's more thirst, from what I found, than hunger. A lot of it is that you're thirsty, you're not really hungry. And so if you drink, obviously, if you drink water and things like that, there's no calories to a lot of that stuff. Even diet stuff, even though, there may be negative side effects to the diet stuff too, but at least you got 0 calories you're working with compared to, all kinds of foods and things like that where you have lots of calories. So a lot of times people will eat, but they're really thirsty. They're not really hungry. A lot of people do get dehydrated. I mean, especially during the summer, hot days like we have in the summertime, it's easy to get dehydrated, that sort of thing as well. So as you look at fasting is a good tool to use in your toolbox of self-control to get better. I think one of the things you want to kind of concentrate on is as I get better, as I become more aware of things, I can take this time out to focus on fasting and becoming stronger. Now I can use that strength and energy to focus on other things around me as well, and to get better as far as spiritual goes, intellectual, my goals, things like that. And you want to continue building on that because you're the one that's getting better and becoming more of a high value male as you go along. And so I think fasting can be very effective too. Now, the negative sides of fasting, of course, you don't want to go so long without eating and that sort of thing. And the other thing is, and I think this is an important one too, I saw this discussion at some point, just like with semen retention, if you're sitting there with retention and you're retaining, which is great, but you're not doing anything with it, and I think we have one of the videos coming up on this, you're not really using it to your best ability. So you may not see a lot of great results if you're not using it. So the key is going to be, and we talk about this when it comes to women as well, things will be attracted to you when you're not trying to be desperate going after them. But we're in a backward society here where we talk about you should be chasing things and going after things. Well, those type of things don't end up working in the long run. Even things like money and things like that. It's great to have the goals, and you should. But again, the love of money is the sin. And the love of the money, it comes from when all of a sudden you become so infatuated that money controls your life, or women control your life. And all that's going to happen from there is self-destruction. I've seen it over and over and over again through the history of mankind. Been like that too. When you look at people who at all costs will try to win over people, compete over people, put people on the ground, all things, it's just a matter of time before that person destroys themselves as well. Because it really is not about the money. The money is basically just a tool that you have. It's the same thing with the women. It's not really something that you should be building your life around. Now, women are wonderful, as I said. It's great to have companionship, things like that, and obviously have families and things like that. But women are not the focal point of your life either. You should be focusing on your own goals, tasks, and things like that. And obviously, one of those things that you're focusing on is your betterment of your health and who you are. And I don't care if you're 25 years old. I don't care if you're 35 years old, 45 years old, 55, or myself at 64. You have a lot of life to live. Every day should be the best day you can become. So it doesn't matter how old you are. You can start today and say, I'm going to change my life. Now, obviously, you have a long history of your life that you're going to have some consequences from. But doesn't mean you still can't become the best person. Doesn't mean you can't go out and do a lot of walking if you have to, running if you have to, exercising, vigorous exercising, do some sort of weight training, eating the right foods, staying away from a lot of the sweets and eating a little more protein, things like that. Obviously, a lot of water, and then obviously I take cold showers, things like that. There's no reason why you still can't do that. I don't care what age you are. And obviously fasting is one big part of that. I mean, you're fasting to the point where you're trying to kind of get your system cleansed out, cleanse your system. And you're also at the point of trying to say, you know, I want to make sure that I'm not allowing food to distract my system away. I mean, you know, just think about this when you're eating, and especially with a lot of sugar and things like that. You tend to eat, you tend to get a lot of issues when it comes to being stagnated, and you know, people want to sometimes go to sleep. I've seen things like that. All of a sudden, you run into a lot of different things when it happens, and now you're focusing on trying to become better, and working on, you know, trying to become better as time goes on. So the thing is that as you focus on this, as you look at this, you really want to be able to make sure that you're becoming the best person you want to become. And fasting can help you do that by getting yourself in order and keeping your mind still on trying to improve yourself as you go along. So so hopefully this helps. You know, I know I've had some questions about fasting before. I always try to go back to some subjects. I know I've done one before on this, but I tend to keep evolving as well, and I tend to learning things as time goes on as well. And I think it's important to keep doing that as you focus on becoming better and better as time goes on as well. All right, my friends. Well, enough for today. I hope you guys end up having a great Monday, having a great week. And we'll talk to you guys again really soon. One of my next ones on here is, I think it was David Venom talked about no energy during SR. We'll actually talk about that because it kind of fits into what we were just talking about a little bit. So that we'll make that the next one. So, okay. So anyway, let me leave you guys with two things that I always do. First, every day is a great day to a new warrior. And you guys are always new warriors, great old warriors. We're all warriors. And you guys have a great day as well today. And secondly, guys, this is a continual battle against the devil, against the distractions we have. And so you got to put your helmet on. You got to put your shield together. You got to keep fighting until the last day. And what you got to do is continue to battle on! God bless you guys. Have a great day.